Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Ashta Sakhi Shiman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai, Panchatattva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narodamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today we are observing Srila Haridas Thakur Disappearance Day. That's why there is no shloka on the board. And instead I want to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, 3rd chapter, The Glories of Srila Haridas Thakur. Um, 49. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. This was a pastime where a conversation took place between Haridas Thakur and Lord Chaitanya while Haridas Thakur was living in Jagannath Puri. And the pastime is the conversation. Lord Chaitanya asks Haridas Thakur 2 questions, and then Haridas Thakur replies. So the first question is, Haridasa Kali Kale Yavana Para Go Brahmane Himsakare Maha Durachara. My dear Haridas Thakur, in this age of Kali, most people are bereft of Vedic culture, and therefore they are called Yavanas. They are concerned only with killing cows and Brahminical culture, and in this way, they all engage in sinful acts. Iha sabara konmate hai benistara tahara hetuna dekie eduka apara. How will these Yavanas be delivered? To my great unhappiness, I do not see any way. So this is question by Lord Chaitanya. And then Haridas Thakur replies, Haridasa kahe Prabhu chintana kariha yavanera samsara deki dukana bhaviha. Haridas Thakur replied, My dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. He is consoling Lord Chaitanya. Do not be unhappy to see the condition of the Yavanas in material existence. Yavana sakalera mukti habe anayase harama harama bali kahe nama base. Because the Yavanas are accustomed to saying Harama, Harama, O Lord Ramachandra, they will very easily be delivered by this Nama Basa. Mahapreme Bhakta Kahe Harama Harama Yavanera Bhagya Deka Laya Seinama. A devotee in advanced ecstatic love exclaims, "O my Lord Ramachandra, O my Lord Ramachandra." But the Yavanas also chant Harama Harama, just see their good fortune. So I remember some time ago, Satchidananda Swami was giving class and he was referring to this pastime because he said, "Oh, we are so fortunate that in Germany and also in the rest of Europe, when we were small, there was a margarine which was named Rama. And we would all say, 'Mom, please, I want to have this Rama margarine for breakfast.' So we were already chanting holy name while saying the name of this margarine. So the Haridas Thakur explains that the chanting of the Lord's holy name to indicate something other than the Lord is an instance of namabhasa. And even when holy name is chanted in this way, the transcendental power is not destroyed. So even a mlecha who is being killed by the tusk of a boar and who cries in distress again and again attains liberation. And then what to speak of those who chant the holy name with veneration and faith? Then he gives the example of Ajamil, who was at his death chanting the name of Narayan, who was his son. It was the name of his son. But still, he was delivered. Even the Yamadutas could not drag him to hell because of his sinful activities. So he explains these syllables. And he says, "The letters of the holy name have so much spiritual potency that they act even when uttered improperly." And he glorifies the holy name. And he says, "If one offenselessly utters the holy name, even imperfectly, one can be freed from all the results of sinful life." And even a faint light from the holy name of the Lord can eradicate all the reactions of sinful life. So he again refers to the story of Ajamil. And then when Lord Chaitanya heard this from Haridas Thakur, he felt happiness within his heart. But he still asked another question. Prithivite bahu jiva stava rajangama iha sabara ki prakare haibe mochana. On this earth there are many living entities, the Lord said, some moving and some not moving. What will happen to the trees, plants, insects, and other living entities? How will they be delivered from material bondage? So, while we find that, so even this namabhasa, chanting accidentally of the holy name, has such potency, we may think that this gives me a chance to attain salvation from material world, and this is because I am in a human body, so I can chant the holy name. And Lord Chaitanya, he appeared to deliver us, which means to deliver humans. But we see here that Lord Chaitanya is concerned also with non-moving living entities. He is asking what will happen to the trees, plants, and insects and other living entities. So his concern was also for small ants, like we see here in India especially. There are so many insignificant insects and small animals, and we may be annoyed by them. So it's astonishing that Lord Chaitanya is concerned for their deliverance from material world. And then Haridas Thakur replies, "My dear Lord, the deliverance of all moving and non-moving living entity takes place only by your mercy. You have already granted this mercy and delivered them. You have loudly chanted the Hare Krishna mantra, and everyone, moving or not moving, has benefited by hearing it. My Lord, the moving entities who have heard your loud Sankirtan have already been delivered from bondage to the material world. And after the moving living entities, like trees, hear it, there is an echo. Actually, however, it is not an echo. It is the kirtan of the non-moving living entities. All this, although inconceivable, is possible by your mercy. So this kirtan of the non-moving living entities, certainly here in Mayapur, because this is the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, and there are still trees which were there when Lord Chaitanya was here, and they heard this kirtan from Lord Chaitanya. And we can, if we tune into it, we can still hear this kirtan of the non-moving living entities here in Mayapur, because this is the place of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So this is another meditation for us to think that there is this kirtan going on, we cannot hear, but that the trees and the creepers, they are still singing and vibrating the holy name, and that it is possible, although inconceivable, to hear it. He continues, when loud chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is performed all over the world by those who follow in your footsteps, all living entities, moving and non-moving, dance in ecstatic devotional love. And then he gives example how animals and trees were delivered when the Lord was going through Jarikanda forest. And also how Vasudev Datta submitted a plea at Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet to deliver all living entities, and that the Lord accepted that request. And then Lord Chaitanya replies, if all living entities are liberated, the entire universe will be devoid of living beings. And then Haridas Thakur explains, my Lord, as long as you are situated within the material world, you will send to the spiritual sky all the developed moving and non-moving living entities in different species. Then again you will awaken the living entities who are not yet developed and engage them in activities. And he gives an example that this had already happened before during the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra and during the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So this is a great news for us to learn that when the Lord comes to perform his pastimes, he is not only doing this for his own pleasure, but he is doing it for the purpose of delivering all living entities, and that is his mercy. So this was revealed by Haridas Thakur in this conversation. And then, because Lord Chaitanya, he was a hidden avatar, he could see that Haridas Thakur understands his position of being incarnation of Lord Krishna. And then he didn't want to discuss this further because he wanted to keep his identity hidden. So Haridas Thakur as Namacharya is very important associate of Lord Chaitanya, and even there are many pastimes described in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavata. And also we find that he was present in some pastimes which are not directly described as his pastimes. For example, he was present when Lord Nityananda delivered Jagai and Madai, because he was with Nityananda Prabhu going from door to door and asking everybody to chant the holy name, and they were together when they encountered Jagai and Madai, and this was the instruction given to them by Lord Chaitanya. He was also present when when Lord Chaitanya was teaching Sanatana Goswami in Jagannath Puri, because Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur, they were living together in Jagannath Puri, and they are very much associated because they were both connected with what is considered a Muslim background. And we know that Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family in what is today Bangladesh. And Sanatan Goswami, although born in a Brahmana family, because he was working for the Muslim ruler of Bengal, he was considered out of the caste system. Therefore, contaminated because of his association with the Muslim rulers and other Muslim administrators. So they were living together in Jagannath Puri, and they could not enter the temple because of their them being associated with the Muslims, and they did not protest. Just like we today, when we go to Jagannath Puri, we say we should have the right to enter Jagannath temple because we are also devotees of Lord Jagannath. But they didn't have this attitude. Rather, their attitude was to be very humble and to accept that I am not, because of the circumstances, I am not allowed to enter the temple. Therefore, I should respect that. And they were also avoiding going near the temple, thinking that if I come near the temple and some pujari brahmana passes by me and I accidentally touch him, then I will contaminate him and he will ruin the service of Lord Jagannath. So they were thinking like this, that they were so humble. Also, when Haridas Thakur, he came with a group of devotees from Bengal to reside in Jagannath Puri, and Lord Chaitanya greeted them all. And then he organized a big feast for all the devotees who came. And he asked, where is this devotee, where is that devotee? So he also asked, where is Haridas Thakur? And Haridas Thakur was, during all that time, far away in the back, offering his obeisances. And it took him such a long time to stand up. And when there was a time to take prasadam for all these devotees, Haridas Thakur, he didn't want to take prasadam with them, but he requested that after everybody finishes, he will take remnants of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya respected his desire. So he's also participated in many pastimes. Some of his most famous pastime is before he was living in Jagannath Puri, when he moved from Bangladesh Jessore district to Navadvip. And actually, this is the chronology that he was living in a hut, and there was a local zamindar, Ramachandra Khan, who was envious of Haridas Thakur because Haridas Thakur was becoming famous because of his vow to chant 300,000 names of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is 192 of what we call rounds. This was his vow, to chant every day 3 lakhs of the holy name. Because of this, he was becoming famous in his village. And this Ramachandra Khan paid a prostitute to go and seduce him. And when this prostitute came to a hut where Haridas Thakur was chanting, she expressed her desire to connect with him. And Haridas Thakur, he was not angry, he did not send her away, but he said, "My dear lady, yes, I will do, I will satisfy you, I will satisfy what you ask me, but first I need to finish my rounds, I have to chant, I have given a vow to chant 300,000 names of the Lord, so please, can you please wait?" And as Haridas Thakur was chanting, it took him all day and all night. And this prostitute, she was listening, sitting at the doorstep, and she was listening and waiting. And the next day, she went to see Ramachandra Khan, and he asked her, "So what happened? Did you succeed in seducing him?" But the prostitute said, "No, because I didn't have opportunity because he made this vow, he's chanting, and I didn't have any time to seduce him. But wait, please wait, I will try again." And then next day, or the same day, she went again, and she again asked the same plea that they unite. And again Haridas Thakur said, "Yes, but as you know, I have this vow, I need to chant 300,000 names of the Lord, so please can you wait?" And again the same thing happened. She was waiting by the door, and Haridas Thakur was chanting all day and all night. And then the third day, again, she expressed her plea, and then he also said, "No, I cannot do anything before I finish my prescribed number of rounds." So, but by that time, because of the presence of the holy person Haridas Thakur, and because of her listening the holy name, her consciousness transformed, and she realized that her living a sinful life is wrong, and that she should take shelter of Haridas Thakur. And he accepted her. He noticed that this transformation took place, and he accepted her, and he gave her instructions. Actually, he left this hut for her to move out, and he gave her instruction that, "So you just sit here and continue chanting all day, and whatever possessions you have, you distribute them to Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, and then wear only one cloth, and worship Tulsi plant, water Tulsi, and just chant the holy name." And then the prostitute, she accepted all these instructions, and she became a great saint from that day on. So this was described how the quality of a guru is to have this kind of effect when somebody approaches who is sinful, that the guru has this power to transform the consciousness of a person from being completely sinful to being completely saintly. And it is remarkable that such a transformation can take place, and that somebody who was absorbed in tamas and rajaguna can all of a sudden start leading such a life of a saintly person. And we understand that this is because of the influence of a holy person, Haridas Thakur, and of the holy name. There is also a pastime when Haridas Thakur lived in a cave, and there was a snake there. He didn't notice this snake because he was absorbed in chanting, But other people who came to see him, they noticed that there is some burning sensation inside the cave. And they told him, something is wrong here, looks like there might be a snake. And we cannot visit you because of this snake. And then Haridas Thakur said, do not worry, by the end of the day, either me or the snake will move out. And this is what happened, that actually the snake moved out of the cave at the desire of Haridas Thakur. What is astonishing in this pastime is that he didn't mind the snake being there, because it's explained that his chanting created the atmosphere of a Vaikuntha, so he was not even disturbed by this poisonous snake, but the other persons were disturbed when they came to see him. Then there is also a pastime when Haridas Thakur was caned or beaten in 22 marketplaces. This was again when he was living in Bengal at the time under jurisdiction of a Muslim ruler. So then local zamindar, again, he was disturbed by this fact that Haridas Thakur was born in a Muslim family, and then he adopted this practice of what was considered the Hindu practice of chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna. So he reported him to the Muslim king, and they arrested him and they put him in a prison. So when he was in prison, he was preaching to people, inmates, prisoners, and he smiled at them and he gave them a benediction. He said, "Taka taka ekana achahayena rupe," which means stay here and stay as you are now. Then the prisoners, they thought, what kind of benediction is this? We are in a prison, we want to get out, and this saint comes here and he gives us benediction to stay here. What, is he mocking us, making fun of us? And then Haridas Thakur explained what he meant by this benediction, and he said, now you are in a position where you cannot enjoy material life, so you are forced to be renounced. And this is ideal position. And then and don't worry, you will exit, you will not stay in prison for long, but I give you the benediction, then even after you get out of prison, you don't start to chase a material enjoyment, and you stay just as renounced as you are now, so that these are perfect circumstances for you to chant the holy name. He induced them to chant the holy name in this way. So then, when there was organized a trial, and the Muslim ruler, he questioned Haridas Thakur, why are you born in a respectable Muslim family? Why are you adopting these Hindu practices of chanting the names of the Lord? And you are setting a bad example, he said, because we want to have Hindus converted into Muslim religion, and by your example, people will want to follow you, and this is not the program of our government. Therefore, that is why I need to punish you. And unless you confess, you return back to being a Muslim, I will release you, but under no circumstances I cannot leave you in this conviction, and I cannot let you continue chanting the holy names. And then Haridas Thakur, he refused. First he thought, how this person, this king, is in Maya. He's under influence of illusion, because he is making he's distinguishing who is right, who is wrong. And he told him that actually the Lord is one, and He is present in everybody's heart. And whoever wants to worship Lord, the Lord inspires him from within the heart how to do so. And it is wrong, and actually he says it is sinful to try to convert or convince people that you don't follow this religion, but you should follow my religion. So he told him like this, and he said, I was inspired from the Lord in my heart to worship Him in this way, and that is why I'm chanting the holy names of Krishna, and I will not give it up. He said, Ashesha Durgati Haya Yadi Yaya Prana Tata Pivadane Nacha Diba Harinama. Even if I experience unlimited misery and die, I will never give up chanting the Lord's holy name. And we see also when Srila Prabhupada, when he was preaching, he never preached in such a way as to say people from other religions need to convert to our religion. He would always say, if your religion teaches you how to love God, then you should follow your religion. And if in your religion you have a name for the Lord, then you may chant that name. And then he explained, for us, because we follow the Vedas, and in the Vedas it is revealed that the Lord is Krishna, and that is why we chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. But other names are also good. So he was not. He made sure not to make a Hare Krishna movement as a sectarian thing, and we see also from Haridas Thakur that this was the proper preaching. So then they decided to punish him, because the Muslim rulers, they could not accept that he will continue chanting the holy names, and they employed some guards to beat him in 22 holy marketplaces. And as they were beating him, Haridas Thakur was chanting, and he was praying for them, and he did not feel pain. And then it's described that just as when Prahlad Maharaj was tortured by his father Hiranyakashipu and his servants, and he did not feel any pain, so similarly Haridas Thakur, he also did not feel any pain because of this beating. And when these guards saw that they could not kill him, and they could not even torture him, then they realized that he is a saintly person. And Haridas Thakur spoke to them, and when they complained that what will happen to us, we got the order that we should kill you, but we cannot do it. So our ruler, our Muslim king, he will punish us. And then Haridas Thakur, he felt so compassion for them that he said, "Oh, don't worry. I will seemingly die. So then you will not be punished." And then he fell into a trance, and everybody thought that he died, and they threw him in a Ganga, and he was floating. And when he reached some shore, then he woke up from his trance. Then the Muslim king realized that I have given an order to torture a saintly person. And he apologized for his mistake, and he allowed Haridas Thakur to continue chanting the holy name. And he said, "You will not be disturbed anymore." And all those people who were beating him, they were actually punished they very soon, because this is such a sinful activity to try to torture a saintly person, that they very soon, they all died. This is described. There was also a pastime which took place in the house of the father and uncle of Raghunadas Goswami. Their names are Hiranya and Govardhan Mayumadar. Haridas Thakur came there. He was a guest of their priest, and wherever he went, because of his chanting of the holy names, he was very much respected and glorified. So when he came to this assembly, the Pandits also glorified Haridas Thakur, and they said, because of your chanting, you will be liberated and you will be released from all the sins. And then Haridas Thakur explained that, yes, this will happen, but this is not the purpose for chanting the holy name. Actually, these effects are only side effects. And the real benefit of chanting the holy name is awakening ecstatic love for the lotus feet of Krishna. He said the verse, Haridasa kahena, namera ei dui palanaya, namera pale Krishna pade prema upajaya. Haridas Thakur protested these two benedictions, so he means liberation, benediction of liberation and benediction of being relieved from all the sins, are not the result of chanting the holy name. Actually, the chanting of the holy name without offenses, one awakens the ecstatic love for the lotus feet of Krishna. And then he explained that just a glimpse of the offenseless chanting of the holy name is able to give liberation to the chanter. And there was one person, one Brahman in that assembly, his name was Gopal Chakravarti. He was very much disturbed when he heard this explanation, and he protested and said, liberation is only possible to achieve after many lifetimes. Oh, and these lifetimes we need to do severe penance and austerities, and you say that just by the glimpse of offenselessly chanting the holy names only once, it is possible to achieve liberation. So what kind of, this is, I don't believe you that when you say that this is possible. And he got so upset that he said, he threatened to Haridas Thakur that I will cut off your nose if this is not true. And Haridas Thakur, he humbly accepted, and he said, yes, I accept your challenge, and if this is not true, I will cut my nose myself. But because it is true, and this Gopal Chakravarti made such a big offense of blaspheming a great devotee, Haridas Thakur, very soon he became ill with the leprosy, and then actually his nose fell off, and that was the consequence of him blaspheming a great devotee. There is a great significance in this circumstance that Haridas Thakur took birth in a Muslim family. We know from Acharyas that he was actually incarnation of Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma is the head of our sampradaya. We take great pride in being initiated into Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya sampradaya, so that we can do deity worship and chant mantras. So it seems astonishing that the head of our sampradaya, the original being in the universe, progenitor of all living entities, comes in Kali Yuga in a Muslim family. And there is a reason for this, and the acharyas very much emphasize this reason. Of course, the reason is that because in the previous Leela of Lord Krishna, Lord Brahma committed a blunder when he tried to steal the cowherd boys and the calves from Krishna. He wanted to test Krishna. He didn't believe him that he was the supreme person, because he didn't follow the rules of he was eating with his left hand. So this bewildered Lord Brahma, and he decided to test him. And because of this mistake, he felt he needed to atone when the Lord comes as his next incarnation, because the Lord takes his eternal associates whenever he comes. As every incarnation, the same associates, they come with him. And Haridas Thakur, he is one of such associates, or Lord Brahma, he is one of such associates. And also the reason is given that this is the reason we find in Navadvipdam Mahatmya by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that he wanted to make sure that he doesn't commit the same mistake, and to make sure to not offend Lord Chaitanya. He felt that he needed to be in some humble, he needed to appear in some humble background. Because of his position as Lord Brahma, he was very puffed up in the previous Lord Krishna's pastimes. So in these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, he felt that he needs to be humble, in a humble circumstance, so not to be puffed up. Also, extensively, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati writes that we can learn from Haridas Thakur the very important point that a Brahmana, being born in an elevated Brahmana family, does not guarantee a high position in spiritual life. Because in the caste system, it was considered that you are born, your birth is according to your past karma. So if your past karma is pious, then you are born in a higher caste. You are born in a Brahmana family or in a Kshatriya family. But if your past is sinful, then you are born in the lower castes as Vaishya or Shudra, or what to speak about not even being born in any of the castes and being outside of this Varnashram system. And this was very much prominent in the times of Lord Chaitanya, and also in the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. We know that his main purpose was to establish that the birth is not a consideration for being elevated, but rather the qualities, and that it is not, and that the Krishna consciousness or bhakti, they are not dependent on pious credit. Rather, bhakti is independent. And somebody can take birth in a Brahmana family but be a demon, while actually somebody can take birth in a very Mlecha or Yavana families, and by accepting the holy name and practicing, learning about philosophy, practicing sadhana, they can become elevated. And that the consideration of advancement is how much you love Krishna, how much love you have for the Supreme Being, and not your pious credits. Because pious credits, they are earned and then they are spent, but they do not give, they don't even give liberation from material bondage, and then what to speak about love of Krishna or a relationship with Krishna. So this was very important for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to establish, and we know that because of this, he came into conflict with the caste Brahmanas, and they even tried to kill him because of this, but he was saved. And very much of his preaching was to fight against this understanding that only Brahmanas can be, only persons born in Brahmana families can be initiated by a bona fide guru. And this is also, we know, very important for all of us who are not from India, that all our acharyas, their main effort was to spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya across the whole world. All of them were working together in a sequence, one after another, so that the holy name and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya would reach everybody, so that even people from sinful backgrounds would have opportunity to become devotee and chant the holy name. And as we know, this was the prediction from Lord Chaitanya. Prithivite achayata nagara digrama sarvatra parachara haibe moranama. In every town and village, the chanting of my name will be heard. So this would not be possible if only people born in a high Brahmana families would be eligible for chanting the holy name. Obviously, this opportunity must be given for everybody. And also all our acharyas, they emphasize how chanting loudly benefits not only person who is chanting, but also all the other living entities who are able to hear the holy name. And Haridas Thakur is an example of this, because he was chanting loudly. And we know that also he was older than Lord Chaitanya for about 35 years, and it was his desire to leave the world before Lord Chaitanya. So one day when he grew old, it became difficult for him to chant his prescribed number of rounds, and he felt very much in anxiety because of this. And Lord Chaitanya visited him in Jagannath Puri, and he told him that Haridas Thakur, you are incarnation of Lord Brahma, you are already liberated, you are my eternal associate. There is no need for you to follow rules and regulations. So you can reduce your number of rounds, you can chant less. And then Haridas Thakur, this was not even consideration for him. He didn't want to accept this, and he said, I have only, my Lord, I have only one desire, and my desire is to live in your presence, to look at your moon-like face and leave this world in your presence. And then Lord Chaitanya, he granted him this desire. When he came to see him with other associates, they had a kirtan, and then in a mystical trance, Haridas Thakur, he was repeating Lord Chaitanya's holy name, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, and while looking at Lord Chaitanya, he left the world. So his departure is compared to Bhishma, because Bhishma Dev also left the world in front of Lord Krishna, and also he left the world by his own will. It was a yogic death. He had a blessing that nobody could kill him, so the only way for him to die was actually by his own will. And similarly, Haridas Thakur, he also left by his own will. And this is a tradition in, I was reading in some biographies that Bhaktivinoda Thakur's father or grandfather, that also in Jagannath Puri, that left in this way. This is important for us to see, to take example from Haridas Thakur, that chanting is our life. And if we see that we cannot chant anymore, then we should prepare to leave. Actually, some people, there's expression that some people live to eat, and some people eat to live. And for Vaishnavas, we can conclude that we live to chant. And that this is how much chanting is important to us. It is the basic activity that we do. And just as the prostitute, she was able to transform her consciousness so suddenly from being such a sinful person to being a person who is able to chant all day and renounce all material activities. From this example of the pastimes of Haridas Thakur, we should also be inspired to transform our consciousness and to have full faith in the holy names. So I can maybe ask if there are some questions or comments. Corrections. Uh-huh. Ah.
Spending in doing Harinam Sankirtan along with the devotees also.
What didn't
As
hear?
we know, Srila Haridas Thakur was chanting 192 rounds every day, and so was he chanting only rounds separately, personally, or he was also engaging Harinam Sankirtan some number of hours? Like, I heard some little clarification required to this. Harinam Sankirtan is together with all devotees.
Well, it was explained that he chanted 1 lakh of names loudly, and then one lakh he chanted silently as japa, and then one lakh he chanted in his mind. I heard this explanation. So this first lakh he chanted loudly like Harinam. I heard. Yes.
There's also a description in the Chaitanya Charitamrita during the Ratha Yatra, Haridas was dancing in Kirtan, so obviously he participated in Kirtan.
Yes.
I just wanted to add a comment that Haridas Thakur was a combined incarnation of Brahma and Prahlad Maharaj as well. So.
Yes. Yes, this is the same situation, just like Ramananda Rai was incarnation of Arjuna and Vishaka Gopi. This is given as example. Okay, if there is not anything else. Haridas Thakur ki jai, Gora Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.